Thousands of Syrian refugees be heading for St. Louis. Some St. Louisans are hoping that answer is yes. Others find the prospect worrisome. Fox 2's Paul Shankman with more on the local group trying to put pressure on the government to resettle some of those refugees here.
Well, this mosque in Hazelwood is also home to an organization which promotes better relations between Islam and America. But now that organization is making it its business to try to pressure the American government into allowing thousands of those tempest-tossed Syrian refugees to make St. Louis their new home.
I don't believe anybody with a heart would not want these people to come here and to rebuild their lives.
For weeks now, we've been seeing the heartbreaking images of desperate Syrian families fleeing the violence of civil war, trying to make a new life in Europe. Now the United Nations is asking the United States to take in 65,000 of them by next year. The St. Louis chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations says bringing Syrian refugees to St. Louis is both the right thing and the smart thing to do.
They're not fleeing our starvation. They're fleeing because of war, and many of them have left their businesses behind. So bringing that type of intelligentsia here will greatly benefit our community and them as well.
Last week on the website Next STL, a column written by a pastor at Memorial Presbyterian of St. Louis got people on social media talking about the idea of St. Louis becoming Little Syria.
The reality is that we've got room. There are whole neighborhoods in St. Louis City that are largely empty. There are a lot of rental properties that will rent very cheap. It's why we're a host city for so many refugees, because we're so well resourced.
Supporters point out St. Louis absorbed more than 60,000 Bosnians in the 1990s, and they revitalized the Bevo Mill neighborhood of South St. Louis, remodeling houses and opening new businesses. Still, when it comes to adding more refugees, some St. Louisans are dubious.
But if they're talking about bringing that many more people in, I think that's going to be a big strain on our economy.
There is always negative reaction. The thing that we need to look at is this the moral right thing to do, and is it the best thing to do? And I believe that it is, and the majority of the people, I believe, will agree with that as well.
According to a spokesperson for Mayor Slay, there are already 29 Syrian refugees in St. Louis, with at least 20 more on the way. And Thursday, the mayor and representatives of the International Institute of St. Louis will be joined by a senior government advisor on refugees from the United Nations, talking about the impact the crisis could have on St. Louis. In Hazelwood, Paul Shankman, Fox 2 News.